Thank you so much for joining this session this afternoon. This session, we're going to be talking about Surface and the modern workplace. So we're going to be having a look at some of the Surface devices, and we're going to be talking about how that really ties into the Microsoft 365 message. So before we get started, just as a bit of a warm-up question for everyone, a little bit of a pub quiz style question. Does anyone know what year Surface devices first entered the market space? What do we reckon? Any thoughts? Come on, someone must have an idea. When did you first see a Surface device?
About 2013.
About 2013. That's a good guess. Very good guess. It's not right, but it's a good guess. Any others? Higher, lower? Oh, I'll put you out of your misery. It is. We saw Surface devices first launch in, if my slides will actually advance, there we go. 2012 is when we saw the launch of the first Surface device. So Surface devices are actually under a decade old. And that's actually a massive achievement when you think about it. The fact that Surface devices, again, under 10 years in the channel, yet has covered a huge amount of ground in what is a very competitive and very saturated marketplace. So in 2012, we saw the launch of the Surface RT, but the title of this slide is A History of Innovation. And that is exactly what Microsoft has been offering with Surface devices over the years that we've been selling these products to customers. It is innovation. The fact that it's not always the same device, just made a little bit faster or a little bit lighter. Microsoft have actually looked at the products they're selling to customers, looking at how business is done, the way that people work, how people want to get work done, and developing new styles and new form factors. If I can just grab my pen for a moment, products like in 2016, we saw the launch of the Surface Hub and the Surface Studio. Again, two new form factors designed for very different purposes, whether it was creativity or unlocking the power of the team. We saw things like the Surface Book, designed to be a portable powerhouse. And again, it's this innovation in design that has really stood Microsoft apart from many of its competitors. Now, we're talking about Surface and the modern workplace at the moment because this is a rapidly changing environment that we're in at the moment. I don't need to, bang the drum too much on this message, talking about how much things have changed over the course of the last 18 to 24 months. We've seen a rapid change in how work is done. We've seen a real rise in mobility and hybrid work. And while this does bring about many benefits for its users, I mean, a lot of people like the fact that they can now work remotely. They can now work maybe a couple of days in the office, maybe work from home or from a coffee shop. I mean, this is all good. It's a very modern way of working, but it has brought about numerous challenges for organizations to stay up with IT departments becoming increasingly complex, the ability to provision and deploy devices remotely, but not sacrificing things such as security. Again, people need to be able to work remotely. They need to be able to access files and data, but they need to be able to do this in a safe and secure manner. And this is a really important thing because there has been a growing amount of cyber threats over the last year. In fact, some news outlets, media outlets have reported that cyber attacks increased over 2020 by up to 400%. 400% increase in cyber attacks. Now, is that a coincidence that there was a 400% increase in cyber attacks at the same time as a global pandemic? Of course it wasn't. Attackers knew that there would be businesses and organizations out there that had not done enough to secure their data, their devices, their infrastructure, their identities. And these attackers are taking full advantage of this current situation. And while some businesses are really struggling to keep up with this rapid pace of change, this is the world that products like Surface and Microsoft 365 were built for, to integrate these solutions into your stack, to help simplify and lower costs, to make management and deployment of these solutions, of these features, easier and more cost effective. So yes, there are challenges at the moment for enabling secure remote work, but products like Surface and M365 do have some of these answers for you. Now back to the Surface hardware just for a moment. This is what the family currently looks like with Surface devices. And like we said, the Surface family is very differentiated. Again, it's not just the same product. We've got lots of different form factors, from the massive Surface Hub. I don't know if anyone's seen one of these out in the wild before, but again, a large display. You can get it from 55 all the way up to 85 inches, 55 to 85. And again, it's a giant surface designed for teamwork and collaboration, whether you want to mount it on a wall or whether you want to attach it onto a stand with some wheels and be able to wheel it around the office. You can even plug in a battery into this device, which actually makes it mobile. That means you can transform any space into a collaboration space. You could even wheel this thing out into the car park if you wanted and conduct a meeting there, provided your Wi-Fi stretches that far. And even though all of these devices are uniquely differentiated from one another, things like the Surface Studio designed for creativity, we've got things like the Surface Go 3, something which is designed for mobility. All of these devices are connected through a core set of experiences, because when you buy a Surface device, any Surface device, you're investing in a product which is designed for the future of work. It's designed for this modern hybrid working world that we find ourselves in, with high quality displays, high quality cameras that give as close as we can get to in-person experiences. Let's be honest, a majority of our meetings that we hold nowadays is through things like Microsoft Teams. That's just a fact of the world that we live in now. And if you're meeting people virtually, you want to be able to still have that human connection, to have good quality cameras so you can see, and even things like the microphones. All Surface devices feature studio mics that are all designed to block out background noise. So again, trying to make the experience as close to in-person as possible, because there's nothing more jarring than having a meeting with someone and they're using a device that has a very old or very low quality camera. That really snaps you out of that moment. It makes it very clear that this is a virtual meeting, that you are not actually with that person. With Surface devices, again, it allows you to feel, again, closer to these people that you're speaking to. Let's not forget that, again, like human interaction, being able to read body language is hugely important in business, in communication in general. And Surface devices, again, designed to bring those meetings that you have to life. Now, one thing I just want to mention about the Surface devices that you can get from ACS, all Surface devices that are available in the channel are referred to as Surface for Business. I just want to explain what that is very quickly. Surface for Business means that this is like a differentiator between the commercial products and the consumer products, because of course Surface devices, you can buy them from consumer sources, things like Amazon or Curry's PC World or Argos or John Lewis. But the thing is, when you buy a Surface device from a consumer source, it will be very different to what you would get from a commercial reseller like ACS. For example, all commercial products come with the Pro version of the operating system. So whether that be Windows 10 or Windows 11. And this is important because you can't use a home-based operating system to connect to servers, domains, all of that stuff. If you bought a consumer product, you would have to invest money in upgrading the operating system. So any savings you think you might be making by buying through consumer sources are immediately eliminated by the fact you would have to buy a pro license for Windows 10. Also, all Surface devices from commercial sources come with enterprise grade security built in. Things such as BitLocker encryption, making sure all your data on your devices remains encrypted. Also, things like TPM 2.0 as well. Also, considering things such as warranties as well. Unlike consumer warranties, if a device was faulty or needed to be returned, with a consumer warranty, you would have to send that device back and then wait for a replacement. With Surface for Business, should something like that happen and the device does need to be returned, you will be sent a replacement device before you've even sent back the faulty one, meaning there is reduced time that you would be without a device. And again, consumer warranties, you'd have to wait a little bit longer. And then lastly, and possibly most importantly, Surface devices are the best devices for things like Office or Microsoft 365. And that should come as no surprise. Microsoft is a software company, or at least was a software company. Microsoft is obviously now cloud and hardware, but it has its roots firmly based in software. And Microsoft created Surface devices in the first place because they wanted to create a product that gave the best experience of their software. There are OEM devices out there that obviously do run things like Office. You can run Office 365 and Microsoft 365 on any OEM device, but are you going to get the best experience? Microsoft has invested a lot of its research and development into its software, supporting things such as collaboration, pen, touch, all of these things that are very natural ways of interacting with devices. I mean, let's be honest. Everyone has a touch screen device in their lives. I mean, everyone is used to interacting with devices through touch. But again, there's lots of devices out there from OEMs that don't support these types of features. That means that if you have a Surface device and things like Microsoft 365, you are going to get the best experience because you know that every single feature within Windows, Office, Microsoft 365, whatever it is going to work on your Surface. You will get that best experience. And that's not just me saying it as biased as I might be. There has been some studies, and Forrester has actually uncovered that you can save 9 hours per week on general tasks using a Surface device and M365 versus 4 hours using M365 on a OEM device. So the statistics are there. Surface devices improve productivity. And I'll come back to that more in just a moment. So I want to have a quick talk about the devices themselves, and I've broken this down into different categories. So I want to talk firstly about the devices which are designed for mobility. Now, of course, when we're talking about mobility, we want to talk about things such as LTE. Now, LTE effectively means 3G, 4G, 5G, basically a mobile connection, having devices that can connect to cellular networks and allow you to be productive and get your work done from anywhere. Now, some people might ask the question, why do we need LTE enabled devices when pretty much every coffee shop, every McDonald's, everywhere in the UK seems to have some form of free public Wi-Fi? Why do I need to spend extra on an LTE device? And I suppose that's a question for anyone in this room. What is there a problem with using public Wi-Fi? Is it preferable to use public Wi-Fi over a device with a SIM card installed or anything like that? What do you reckon? Public Wi-Fi, yay or nay?
No.
No, no, and why? Why no?
Man in the middle.
Man in the middle. There you go. So yeah, man, have you ever heard of this type of attack before?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So in case some of you haven't heard of these man in the middle or pineapple attacks, effectively what it is, and this has happened. There's been many documented cases of these types of attack. Imagine there's a guy who walks into a Starbucks and in his rucksack, he has one of these. It's called a pineapple, or effectively it's a router. He gives this router a name. He calls it Starbucks Public Wi-Fi. And he sits in there. People come into the Starbucks, they search for the public Wi-Fi, they find this, thinking it is the public Wi-Fi for Starbucks, and they connect to it. Once they've connected to it, the attacker then has the ability to access that person's device, to effectively rummage through their pockets. Okay. And with a growing number of employees working from mobile locations and maybe working from home, or maybe deciding one day, oh, I don't want to work from home, I'm going to pop down the local Starbucks for a few hours and do some work there just for a change of scenery, there is the likelihood that they could connect to something like this. And this isn't just scaremongering, this does actually happen. So having LTE enabled devices means you're not reliant on public Wi-Fi, that wherever you go, you're able to get your work done and do it in a safe and secure manner. So it does help you avoid the risks associated with public Wi-Fi. And of course, we've already mentioned these benefits. It's designed to empower a hybrid workforce, minimize potential security risks, reduce interruptions as well. And I can speak personally on the reducing interruptions. I live out in the sticks, and occasionally we get power cuts. So it would be really useful if I had a LTE enabled device that even if my power goes out and my router goes down, at least my device could remain connected to the internet. So in terms of reducing disruptions, that would be brilliant for me. So let's talk about the first of our mobile focused devices. This is the Surface Go 3. And the Surface Go 3 is one of the smallest and one of the lower cost Surface devices available. This starts around the £400 category. And there is an optional LTE SKU for this device. So if you did want one that has LTE connectivity, there is that option available. Now, this device, given its size and given the focus of this device, it's very much aimed around first-line workers, people who may be mobile, out and about, people that don't need an insanely powerful device. They just need something capable of getting their work done. We've seen a lot of success with this device, like I said, in first-line workers. We've seen a lot of success with retail. We've seen public sector education has, again, been another big one for this. Also, within public sector, blue light services. We've got some really good case studies of these devices. One of them is the Cheshire Constabulary. They bought a load of these devices for their officers, for their police officers out on the beat. The fact that this device is small, it's light, they can slip it into their stab vests. And should they need to be on a scene and take photos, take statements, as you can see, you've got the pen. So if you were to take a statement from someone about something they've seen, they can sign their name at the end of it, and they can upload that data via LTE straight to the PNC, meaning that these police officers aren't having to go back to the station every few hours to duplicate work. They're able to be out and about. And I'm sure as taxpayers, that's pretty much where we want our police. We want them out and about preventing crime rather than being back at the police station doing paperwork. And whilst that is an example specific to a police force, I think that's something we can all relate to. We want our employees, we want people within our business doing the work. We don't want people effectively having to duplicate work or not being able to do things because their devices do not allow it. This is a device which is designed to enable mobility and productivity from practically anywhere. Like I said, it's not the most powerful Surface device. It is running an 8th gen Core i3 processor. Now, whilst that isn't the most groundbreakingly powerful CPU on the market, it is capable. If you're using things like Microsoft 365, line of business application, web applications, this device is fantastic. And with around 10 hours of battery life, it's designed to work more than the average working day. Now, in terms of, what was I going to say? the competitors for this device, given the pricing of this device, it does put it squarely in the sights of things such as iPads. But this potentially has some advantages over an iPad. Consider for a moment that this is running full fat Windows 10 or 11 Pro. So that means that all of your existing software is going to work on this device. You're not going to have to buy iOS versions of software. Also consider that because it is a Windows 10 machine, the management of this device, it's just another Windows 10 laptop. So you don't need to divert resources to look after a pool of iOS devices within your infrastructure. Also consider that this is a multi-user device, unlike iPads. For example, with an iPad, you can't sign out of an iPad. You can't have multiple users signing in and out unless you're using specialist classroom management software, which would be an additional cost. And again, for people that work in shifts, think warehouse workers, being able to sign out of this device when they finish their shift, pass it on to the next person, they can sign in, and away they go. So there is a huge amount of flexibility that this device brings. Now, if you like the sound of this device, but you need something with a bit more power and performance, you might consider the Surface Pro 7 Plus. Now, you'll notice that big rosette on the screen at the moment saying there is currently 10% off this device. This is the Microsoft Black Friday offers, and this offer, all of the Black Friday deals for Surface devices end at the close of business tomorrow. So if you are looking at new devices or anything like that, now is the time to scoop an absolute bargain. The Surface Pro 7 Plus is, well, the Surface Pro range of products are probably the most popular Surface devices going because of the huge amount of flexibility that they offer. It is that traditional form factor that people think of when they see Surface Pro devices. And this is an advancement on the previous Surface Pro 7. As you may have noticed, you've got the big plus there. So what does that plus mean? Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, the Surface Pro 7 Plus does have optional LTE. So if you did want an LTE variant of this device to either use a SIM card or the built-in eSIM, you can. So for mobility and productivity anywhere, that is now an option with the Pro 7 Plus. It is 2.1 times faster than the previous Surface Pro 7 because it now uses that 11th gen Intel Core processor. It has improved battery life of up to 15 hours. So again, a product which is designed to last more than the average working day. And this comes back to the sustainability message with Surface devices. Devices that last longer, so you're charging them less. And also with fast charging as well, you can charge this from 5% up to 80% in under an hour as well. So again, for people on the go, they only have time for a quick splash and dash of power before they're off to their next meeting. This is a wonderful device for that. You can also remove the SSD from this device. Underneath the kickstand, you can't see it in this image, but underneath the kickstand, there's a little door where you can actually remove the SSD, so allowing you to retain your data. So some really good features with the Surface Pro 7 Plus. And because there is a huge amount of options, you can have this device from an i3 all the way up to an i7. You can have it from 8 gig of RAM to 16 gig of RAM. You can have it from 256 gigs of storage all the way up to a terabyte. So a huge amount of flexibility. There has been customers that I know they've decked out their entire organization with just Surface Pro 7 Pluses because they were able to buy the i3 versions for their first line workers and then the higher end 16 gig of RAM, 1 terabyte versions for the senior leadership and management teams. And as I mentioned, up until the close of play tomorrow, this will be 10% off when you bundle it together with a type cover and an Arc mouse as well. So a really good deal, definitely one worth checking out. And that is only until tomorrow and while stocks last. So if you're looking for a new mobile device, definitely one worth looking at. The next one on the list is the Surface Pro X. Now, the Surface Pro X is It does look very similar in the image to the Surface Pro 7 Plus. What you probably can't see from this image is that this is the slimmest and lightest Surface Pro that we currently have available. It's slim and light because it uses a very unique type of processor. It uses the SQ1 and SQ2 processors, which are built on ARM architecture. Now, without getting too technical, ARM processors are traditionally found in mobile phones. And they're in mobile phones because they're very conservative on the amount of power that they consume. That means that with something that has a relatively small battery, we can still get 15 hours of battery life from a device which is very thin and light. And also, it's thin and light because ARM processors don't require any external cooling, which means they don't need great big fans or heat sinks, which again adds to the depth and the weight of the device. The other thing with Surface Pro X is every single Surface Pro X is LTE enabled. So again, this is a device which is designed for mobile work. So for people who are going to be out and about, they want something slim, light, yet powerful. This is a fantastic device for people that want mobility, but they want something sleek, slim, light, and powerful. This is absolutely something to consider. And there is 20% off this device until tomorrow. You don't need to bundle anything with it. It's just a straight 20% discount. So absolutely one to consider. Now we have something a little bit different. Some of you might have seen already the Surface Duo products. The Surface Duo 2 has recently launched, and again, it is a wonderful device. As you can see, it is a mobile phone. It is an Android-based operating system mobile phone, which is effectively still a Surface device. It's not designed to replace an existing Surface. It's seen more as a companion device. And as you can see, the main focus of this product is the fact that it has two screens. Now, why would Microsoft do that? Create a device that has two screens? Is there a reason for it? Is it a gimmick, or is there an actual reason to why having two screens on a mobile device is a good thing? Any thoughts or ideas? Gimmick or not? That silence is worrying.
Digital book.
Digital book, yeah, I mean, you can use it. You can absolutely use it like that. The whole idea with the Surface Duo is to create a device which is designed for multitasking. Think about most of you are at home. I imagine most of you are at home at the moment. And how many of you are sitting in front of a couple of different monitors? You've got your laptop or desktop. Is anyone here using more than one display at the moment?
I've got 3.
You got
I
three,
got
fair
3.
enough. You're
Yeah, I've got
bragging.
3.
I'd use 4 if I could.
Well, there we go. That's it. Because we find that using multiple displays is easier because you can have things open, applications running. I mean, when I'm at home, I've got Outlook on one monitor and I've got Teams open on another monitor, and I've got something else going on my screen on my laptop. That's how I work. And one of the things I do find is when I'm out and about and I'm just using my iPhone, I'm constantly having to skip between different applications. You can't run two applications simultaneously on things like an iPhone, for example. But with the Duo, this means that you can have multiple applications running at the same time. You can have Teams open on one screen and you can have OneNote open on the other. So whilst you're in the meeting, you can be jotting down notes. Surface Duos are compatible with any Surface Pen. So I can just be in OneNote and I can be writing all of my notes in here, whatever it might be. And again, it is a mobile phone. It is a mobile phone. So effectively, I've got a device that allows me to be productive, to be able to multitask and still make and receive all of my phone calls, whether I'm in the office or out and about. So the Surface Duo 2 is available now. The Surface Duo 1s are still in stock. The difference between the Duo 2 and the Duo 1 is really the cameras. On the Duo 2, you've got a triple camera array on the back of the device. So a photo, telephoto, and wide angle lens. On the Surface Duo, the camera is actually on the inside. So you'd have to fold the device round to have that camera facing outwards. But it's still a fantastic device, and the Surface Duo 1s are currently 50% off. That's not a Black Friday deal either. That's just 50% off. So if you're an Android user, or if you're looking to move to Android and you're considering a new phone, the Surface Duo is one that I would absolutely recommend. So let's talk quickly about devices which are designed for creativity and power use. We've got here the Surface Book 3. Now, the Surface Book range of products was always designed for portable power, and I'm talking real power and performance. So we've got a few things going on here. So first of all, the Surface Book 3, as you can see, it is a detachable device. You can detach the screen from the keyboard. Now, there's a few things going on. In the screen here, we've got the Intel processor, the motherboard, and we've got batteries. In the cover, in the type cover down here, we've also got more batteries, and we also have an NVIDIA GPU as well. You can either have an NVIDIA GeForce GTX, or you can have an NVIDIA Quadro RTX, which again are very, very powerful graphics processors. This is designed for people that need power and performance, but they need it on the go. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of powerful devices out there. Some people I know who need powerful devices have bought things like gaming laptops. And again, gaming laptops have very powerful GPUs in them, very capable devices, but they don't look particularly professional. You know, if you're in a boardroom and you show up for a meeting and you take out your gaming laptop and suddenly it's got neon lights and underglow and rainbow lit up keyboards, it does, you know, it kind of loses some of its professional air. So the whole idea with the Surface Book 3 is to have something that's slim, relatively light, but incredibly powerful. And that is exactly what the Book 3 does. Now, whilst the Book 3 does have that graphics processor, and yes, it's brilliant for people that are creative using things like Photoshop or designing or illustrating, it's also great for people who are just power users. If you don't have a creative bone in your body, but you're doing a lot of work, you've got hundreds of spreadsheets open, you're dealing with lots of data, having that GPU is going to really help. You're going to have a device which is going to allow you to process and churn all of that information. You're not going to have your fans kicking in on your device, or your device heating up to 1,000,000 degrees because it's struggling to cope with the work you're trying to put through it. The Surface Book 3 is designed for that kind of world, whether it's creativity or power use and on-the-go working. The Book 3 is absolutely fantastic. Now, if you want that kind of performance, but you don't necessarily need to be mobile, you could consider the Surface Studio 2. Now, the Surface Studio is a desktop device, so this is not mobile. As you can see, it's got that 28-inch display, 4K resolution. It looks absolutely stunning in person. I don't know if anyone's seen one of these in the wild before. Has anyone seen or maybe even used a Surface Studio, maybe a 1 or 2?
No.
Nope.
No, not yet.
Well, if you get the chance, if you're going to be in town, maybe doing your Christmas shopping over the weekends, and you find yourselves either near a John Lewis or a Curry's PC World, most of those stores have got Microsoft concession stands, so you can actually see the products. If you are wandering around John Lewis at any point, they've normally got Surface Studios in there. Highly recommend having a look, because honestly, this picture does the device no credit at all. The image on this 28-inch display is absolutely stunning. And the thing that really sets this device apart, a lot of people will look at that and go, looks a lot like an iMac to me. Well, the thing that stands this device apart is this. It's this hinge down here. What you can effectively do is you can move this screen kind of down, and then it sits at this kind of an angle. It's 20 degrees. So it's designed to mimic that of a studio designer's desk. So if you were artistic, or if you are a creative individual, or marketing, design, editing, illustrating, you've got this 28-inch canvas to be able to draw and interact with. And I would say that this does have some key advantages over things like iMacs. And don't get me wrong, iMacs are great devices, but there is no such thing as a touchscreen iMac. If you want to be creative on an iMac, you've got to go out and buy hundreds of pounds worth of peripherals, things like Wacom tablets, pens, that sort of stuff. Whereas the Surface Studio, it's a device that is ready to go. It's going to run all of your industry grade software for design, whatever it might be, Bentley Navigator, SolidWorks, AutoCAD, and you can just draw directly onto the screen. As you can see, I'm incredibly artistic. There you go. I would love to have one of these devices, but honestly, you've just seen the my artwork there, and I really can't justify having a Surface Studio to draw a massive smiley face on it. But if you have people within your organization that work in marketing, design, illustration, and they don't necessarily need to be mobile, then maybe this is a device that you could consider. Very quickly, tools for teamwork and collaboration. This is the Surface Hub 2S. Now, I mentioned this briefly earlier. The Surface Hub 2S is designed for collaboration and teamwork. As you can see, we've got this one here, I think is the 55-inch. So this has got a 55-inch display. Also, we do this up to like 85. So it gets absolutely gigantic. And this is a device which is designed to bring together teamwork and collaboration. Some of you might have offices or meeting rooms. Some of you might have large screen displays, or maybe just TVs in there that you maybe connect to. This is a device which, again, is already running all of your software. It's connected to your network. You can join your Teams meetings. You can brainstorm with Microsoft 365 applications and whiteboarding tools. And again, whether you're going to use this in a fixed location or connect it to the mobile roam stand, which you can see here, this allows you to move this device around to any location. You can also, like I mentioned earlier, you can also pop in a battery, which gives around 90 minutes worth of runtime when the device is completely unplugged. And again, allowing you to transform any space in your office into a collaboration space. So if you want to do something in the canteen or out on the office floor, and again, with these new variants and everything, I think there are a lot of people that are reluctant to sit in small meeting rooms. So being able to have a device that you can just wheel out into a large space where people can still be involved, still see what's going on, but at the same time still socially distance themselves, this has been an incredibly popular product. So devices around personal productivity, and here we have the hero Black Friday product. This is the Surface Laptop Go for Business with a massive 30% off. Microsoft has never, ever in its history done such a large discount on a device. So this is groundbreaking, 30% off when purchased with a USB-C travel hub, basically one of these. I'll talk about that a bit more in just a moment. Now, the Surface Laptop Go is designed to be an essential everyday device. The Surface Laptop Go, once again, just like the Surface Go 3 we mentioned earlier, this isn't built to be a monster powerhouse device. It's i5, so it's incredibly capable, 10th generation i5 processor, and you can have it in 128 gigs of storage or 256. So that's basically it. i5, 8 gig of RAM, 128 or 256. Those are your two options. You can choose different colors. You can have it in ice blue, like we see on the screen here. You can also have it in silver, platinum, or you can have it in sandstone, which is basically gold. So if you want a gold laptop, absolutely do so. And with this 30% off, for the 128 gig model, that brings the price down into the £400 category. £400 for a premium Surface device. That's like Dell money. So this is a fantastic offer. There's been people that have wanted to give premium devices to their employees, but they didn't have thousands of pounds per head to arm their people with nice, premium shiny devices. But now is a chance to be able to do that with the Surface Laptop Go. So it is a premium Surface device. Now, Microsoft did have to reduce costs in some areas on this product, and they've done that in some pretty good ways. One of the ways is this device. So every other Surface device we've mentioned so far has got a facial recognition camera in the bezel. And that facial recognition camera is for biometric authentication. So signing into your device with your face. This device doesn't have that. Instead, it has a fingerprint reader on the power button. So when you turn the device on and you just rest your finger on the power button, you can still biometrically sign into the device. So it's not Face ID, it's fingerprint ID. So again, security is still top of mind with this device. Also, this is the only Surface device which does not support the pen. It is touchscreen, okay? It is a touchscreen device, but it doesn't support the Surface Pen. And research showed us that people with laptop style devices don't use the pen that much anyway. So it's probably not going to be a deal breaker for many of you. And also the materials of this device. So things such as the chassis on the outside and on the back of the device, that was a terrible effort on a arrow there. That's a bit better. On the back of the device, it is still that magnesium alloy that all Surface devices are made from. But on the underside of the device, the bit that you never see, is actually made from recycled plastics into like a plastic polymer on the bottom. And again, that's helped reduce the weight of the device, and it's helped reduce the cost of the device as well. And building this device from recycled and sustainable materials as well, again, helping to reduce the carbon footprint in the manufacturing of these devices. And so even though it's, again, with that 30% discount, it's still incredibly good. Again, 10th generation processors, 13 hours of battery life. You can charge this from flat to 80% in just over an hour. So again, this is a wonderful device. Again, not designed for real power use, but capable. If you're using things like Office 365, web applications, and just, general day-to-day office working, this device is absolutely brilliant for that. And again, it's a premium product as well. So again, just consider that deal is going on until the end of tomorrow, and it is while stocks last. I can tell you at the moment there is still stock, but that might not be the case for long. So if you are looking at getting new devices, this is absolutely one to consider. Now, to get that 30% off, you do need to buy it with the USB-C Travel Hub. The USB-C Travel Hub, again, is designed to allow you to dock your device to things like additional monitors, displays. It doesn't charge your device. It is literally just a travel hub. It's very small as well. I mean, the size of this device is about the size of a cigarette packet, as a scale. Probably not the best example I could have thought of, but that is roughly the sort of size you're looking at. And again, it's designed to be very small and very light, so you can just slip it in your bag and take it anywhere. Again, a lot of people working remotely, hot desking, needing to connect up to additional displays. You can't necessarily carry the original Surface Dock or the Surface Dock 2 because those are very heavy. They're designed to live in one place. This is something which is designed to be portable, and it does have all the connections you need: USB-C, USB-A, VGA. It's also got Ethernet over here and a HDMI on that side as well. So all the connectivity you need for when you're on the go. And then lastly, on the devices, we have the Surface Laptop 4. Now, the Surface Laptop 4 was an improvement on the existing Surface Laptop 3, and again, designed to be faster and more powerful than the existing Surface 3, up to 70% faster than the previous Surface Book 3. So this is the most powerful Surface laptop made so far. It is using the 11th gen Intel processor, or you can also choose an AMD Ryzen processor. So this device actually comes with more choice than any other Surface device. For example, it's available in two sizes. You can get it in 13.5 or 15 inches. So you can choose your size. You can also choose your colors as well. You can choose it between platinum, black, sandstone, or ice blue. You can also choose the finish of the device as well. And again, you can't really see it in this picture, but you can choose whether you want bare metal on the keyboard or whether you want Alcantara. So again, you can choose your fabrics with this device. And also, again, the processor, either an Intel or an AMD Ryzen. So again, a lot of options with this device. And really, this is a product for people that just want a traditional laptop. They're not fussed about having something which has removable type covers or removable screens. They just want something sleek, slim, and powerful. And that's exactly what the Laptop 4 offers. It's incredibly powerful. It's thin, it's light. The battery life is up to 19 hours. So again, way more than the average working day, and something which is going to be more than capable of doing the work that you would need it to do on a day-to-day basis. Any questions on anything that we've been through so far? Nope. Are we all still there? Is anyone still awake?
Yeah, still here.
Marvelous. Fantastic. So really, there is a Surface device out there for everyone. Now, this isn't an exhaustive list of all of the types of people that might buy these devices, but it does give us a good idea. We've got things like the Surface Go 3 in these kinds of areas. Like I mentioned, things like first-line workers and highly mobile individuals. And then we've got the more specialized devices at this end, things like the Surface Studio 2 or the soon-to-be released Surface Laptop Studio, but more about that early next year. Now, Surface devices have always been designed to be secure natively, whereas some devices come with some elements of security but do require third-party add-ons and tools. Surface devices are designed to be secure in the device itself. So all Surface devices ship with UEFI firmware and TPM 2.0 and UEFI universally extensible firmware interface. This is firmware which has been developed in-house by Microsoft, meaning Microsoft has full control over what goes into every Surface device. You also have things like SEMM, Surface Enterprise Management Mode, being able to control what your employees can do with their Surface devices. Say, for example, you work in a highly regulated industry and you don't want your customers, you don't want your employees being able to take photos of things. So you can disable the cameras or disable the Bluetooth or disable the Wi-Fi. You have full control over what this device can and can't do within your environment. So it puts you in a lot of control. They all feature things like BitLocker encryption and Windows Hello for biometric authentication. And then you tie that together with cloud products like Microsoft 365. And that's going to give you advanced features around things such as conditional access policies, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, the ability to manage your devices with Intune, to be able to remotely wipe or lock or retire devices if they were ever lost or stolen. So from a security perspective, Surface devices are some of the most secure devices you can currently get. So secure, in fact, that the Microsoft Surface family has been cleared for classified use by highly security conscious organizations like the US Department of Defense. They've signed off Surface devices for classified use because they meet such high standards of security. So in terms of Surface and Microsoft 365, the benefits of, again, adding all of this stuff together, Microsoft 365, which consists of Windows 10 Office and enterprise mobility and security, and then tying that together with your Surface devices, it does offer some clear benefits for your users. Again, it is the most productive way to use Microsoft 365. It makes it easier to deploy using things such as autopilot, and not just easy to deploy, but then easy to manage, because at the end of the day, these are just Windows devices. We've already mentioned in terms of secure. Again, these are some of the most secure devices that money can buy. And also, this one's quite a big one in terms of inspiring employees and again, attracting and retaining talent. People like having nice things. That probably comes as no surprise to anyone. People having nice devices, it makes your employees feel valued, that they are being given a premium device. Don't forget, Microsoft and Apple are the only two manufacturers that exist solely in the premiums market space. You don't see Microsoft or Apple going head to head with Chromebooks over a bank holiday weekend in Curry's PC World. They exist in that premium space alone. And when people are given nicer devices, they feel valued. They want to do more. So there is an absolute, I think it's around 75% of employees feel that technology represents them and their brand. That when they have a nice device, again, it creates that great first impression when they go out and see customers or meet people. It looks good. And again, it represents your company, your image in a very positive way. And like I said, there are statistics behind Surface and Microsoft 365 being tied together. As I mentioned, the total amount of time saved for mobile users is around 9 hours per week. 9 hours per week saved on common tasks versus 4 hours for non-Surface devices, but using the same M365 software. And again, this is because most Surface devices support things like pen, or all Surface devices support things like touch. And again, being able to do some of these things faster on a Surface device versus some other OEMs. But there is a whole case study around the time savings and the cost savings of Surface and M365 together. Now, in terms of Microsoft 365, of course, one of the biggest growth areas, and again, this I'm positive this comes as no surprise to anyone, is the huge growth of Microsoft Teams over the course of 2020. I think Microsoft just kind of gave up keeping track of the numbers, because I haven't seen that number go up, but I know it has. So over 75 million. I think now I think it's well over 100. It's well over 100 million daily active users of Microsoft Teams. And again, like we mentioned earlier, Surface devices are the best devices to use Teams because of the high quality cameras, the microphones, the ability to be able to whiteboard using the Surface Pen, being able to draw onto the screen. It does give that best experience. But then Microsoft 365 taking it a step further by adding telephony into the mix. Now, is anyone here already using a cloud-based phone system?
No.
Yeah.
So some of you are, some of you aren't. Is anyone here using Microsoft Teams for their telephony?
No.
Nope. Well, it's definitely worth something worth considering, because one of the things that last year really highlighted was some of the inadequacies of some phone systems. When the first lockdown commenced, there was a lot of companies really struggling. How are we going to make and receive our phone calls? How are we going to stay in touch with our clients and customers? And some businesses just had to resort to giving out their mobile numbers to all of their customers. Now, what we're suggesting with Business Voice is the ability to call, make and receive calls from any device and any location, literally any device. And this all works because it's all going to go through Teams, this application which probably most of you on this call have already got across multiple devices. Most of you will have Teams on your laptops or desktops. Most of you will have the Teams app on your mobile phone, whether that's iOS or Android. So you've already got Teams anyway. Why not get it doing more than just Teams meetings and chat? And of course, a cloud-based phone system can save huge amounts of money versus things like on-prem PBXs. And I don't know if anyone here still has an on-prem PBX or anything like that in their office, maybe. No, I think a lot of people have moved away from that. But as you know, cloud-based systems, they can save money because you don't have those overhead costs that you would get from an on-prem PBX. And the fact that everything's coming through a single provider can provide simplicity. Now, I do have a short video which I'd like to show you just around Business Voice and its advantages. So have a quick look at this.
Boston Limited is a server and storage solutions provider.
We've got about 200 employees currently, and we ship to about 40 countries. We can't do that without speaking to people on the phone.
Communication used to be a challenge. We were using legacy technologies, classic phone system, and then multiple tools to try and stay connected.
Microsoft 365 Business Voice is a small business phone system that operates from the cloud. It allows you to connect from any device, from any location, and has seamless integration with the full Microsoft 365 ecosystem.
It's like having a virtual office. You've got all the tools available to you in a single screen. People feel as if they are working together.
You've got the full support of chats, file sharing, meetings, and phone calls. You can start off a very simple phone call, and with a click of a button, you can enhance that to give you full video, high fidelity sound, screen sharing, and collaboration.
Having everything in one place means we save time. Time is money. If we can access that conversation, that email, that document on our mobile device, we can get that to a customer faster.
With Microsoft Teams and the integration into Outlook, our users can now load up their contact list, click a phone number, and immediately Microsoft Teams is dialing that person.
Microsoft is a brand name that's trusted, so it puts our minds at ease, but also for anyone that works with us as well.
Any admin, even non-technical users in many countries quickly create phone numbers and assign them to their users.
It's more than just a telephone replacement system. It's a full collaboration tool.
Microsoft 365 Business Voice is essential for me running my team. It's saving me time, and I have a calmer life now.
Okie doke. So that is Microsoft 365 Business Voice. And one of the key things in that video, one of the things that really sticks with me is when the managing director of that company said that this is more than just a telephone replacement system. It is a full collaboration suite. And that is the best way to look at Business Voice. It's not just a phone system, because if you were to compare things like Business Voice to some other phone systems, you might think that Business Voice comes out quite expensive. But when you consider that Business Voice is designed to integrate into things like Teams and Outlook and everything else within your infrastructure, that's where the value really lies. The fact that you're bringing everything together into one space. So that really is the value of Business Voice, that all-in-one communication. The fact that it's very easy to use. You guys probably have been using Teams for a while now. So when you go into Teams, and if you're using Business Voice, the only thing that's different is when you go into the calling tab along the side, you've now got this dial pad. That's it. That's the only thing that's different. So the learning curve for adopting this new phone system, again, is incredibly shallow. There's not really a huge amount to learn. You've got this dial pad. All of your contacts over here are automatically imported from Outlook. So if you've already got people saved in Outlook or your contacts, all of that automatically synchronizes with Microsoft Teams. If you want to add new groups, of course you can. If you want to do things like check your voicemail, you've got it right there. Teams also transcribes all of your voicemails into text as well. So if you'd rather read it, you can, or you can play it back. Absolutely. So it's incredibly easy. And even if you're using this on the mobile app, again, it's the same thing. You can go to the calling tab in the mobile app and you have the same dial pad, you have access to your contacts. And that means that basically whatever device you decide to leave the house with that morning, not only will you have your entire office suite with you. For example, if you just left the house and all you've got is your phone, not only have you got access to things like SharePoint, OneDrive, emails, but then you've also got your business phone with you wherever you go. So a huge amount of flexibility. And the thing is with Business Voice, it is still very much a maturing product. Business Voice was only released back in November 2019. So it's still maturing, but it still has a lot of very rich features that you would expect from a cloud-based phone system. Microsoft are constantly developing this tool as well. They are bringing new features out all the time. Things like call recording is coming soon. But the great thing about Business Voice is there's loads of third-party apps that can plug any gaps that Microsoft may currently have. So a lot of these features, again, all of this stuff is available now for both calling and admin, a lot of the stuff that you would need from a phone system. And like we said, you can use any device you want, any device that runs Teams, laptops, iPads, Android tablets, mobile phones. But if you'd like to have dedicated desk phones or dedicated conferencing systems that are all Teams enabled, you absolutely can do. And one of the things that I have to say about the conferencing units, these are fantastic because I've been to a lot of offices where they use conferencing systems, things like Cisco or Polycom. And again, I'm not saying they're not good, but they're proprietary. They have their own way of functioning. They've got their own operating systems, their own menus, and that can be confusing. And it seems weird to me when a lot of organizations, they'll use Teams at their desks, but for some reason their conference rooms will be full of Polycom and Cisco proprietary systems. Why not standardize across your business, have the same Teams experience in your conference rooms that you would have at your desks? And again, Polycom are making some of these units, and I don't know if you can see, you might have seen it on the video, but the screen on this device, it's the Teams app. The Teams mobile app. So if you know how to use Teams on your mobile phone, you know how to use this device. You can see this screen quite clearly. Again, it is just Teams. I guarantee you, any of you here that have been using Teams for longer than 3 months, you could take these devices and get to grips with them almost immediately because it's going to be something that everyone is familiar with. And isn't that a good ROI to have solutions in place that everyone in your business already knows how to use rather than something that's going to take ages for them to learn? So these Teams enabled devices, whether it be desk phones or conferencing systems, these are fantastic. Now, from lastly, I know we've gone over. I'm literally done. They were like literally 2 more minutes. Lastly, just on pricing. Sorry, I've got a cough one more time. Oh, dear me. Let me just have a quick drink of water. Sorry. This is what happens when you talk for over an hour non-stop, right? Okay, so in terms of pricing for Business Voice, there are 2 different options. The first one is this one here, which is M365 Business Voice. This is the all-up Microsoft solution where Microsoft provide everything. Okay, so it's £9 per user per month on top of your current license. As long as you've got one of these licenses, you're eligible. That £9 will give you your phone system. It will give you your audio conferencing services. It will give you 1,200 minutes per user per month. And those minutes do pool. So if you had 2 people working for your company, as for an example, that would be 2,400 minutes between you. So not 1,200 minutes allocated to a single user. It's spread out amongst everyone. And then for an additional £9, you can buy 600 international minutes as well. So allowing you to make international calls to international landlines or mobiles. Now, this is basically the Microsoft plan, and it is what it is. If you need more minutes, you'd have to buy another license. We don't do different plans that offer more minutes or more international minutes. It is what it is, okay? If you do require more flexibility, you could consider this plan here, which is M365 Business Voice without calling plan. As you can see, it costs a little bit less. You get your phone system, you get audio conferencing, but you can see it doesn't include any minutes or international calls. This is because this uses direct routing, effectively partnering up with a third-party telephony provider. Maybe someone like, for example, maybe someone like 8x8. So this is where you can partner with 8x8. They might be able to give you maybe a better rate, maybe more minutes or more international minutes, maybe something that's a bit more tailored for your business and your requirements for what you need for business calling. For example, if your company makes a lot of international minutes, international calls, and this is not going to cut it, maybe 8x8 could do you a better deal on international calls, something which is going to cost less. So again, the guys at ACS will be able to help you find the best deal that works for you. And of course, it brings about the best of both worlds. You can have a calling plan that works best for you, but then all of the benefits of your calling going through Microsoft Teams, being able to make and receive calls from any of your devices. So a huge amount of flexibility. So that is about it from me. My apologies for running over a little bit. There was a lot of stuff to go through. So lastly, before we tie a bow in this, does anyone have any questions about anything that we've been through over the last 1 hour and 6 minutes? Or are you all absolutely sick of me by this point?
Can I just ask about some of the models?
Yes.
So
Please do.
at the moment, I think I've got a Surface Pro,
Yes.
which I'm more than happy with, but I'm told that I need to change it.
Okay.
So what would be the equivalent? I've got the 13-inch, so it's got the detachable keyboard. It's super slim and light. I can take it anywhere, but it's massively powerful. It runs all my artwork programs. I have no complaints. So
So
do
which
I have
one do you
to
have at the moment? Sorry.
Surface Pro? So I
Surface
don't
Pro.
know any more than that.
So it looks like that, does it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so and you're being told it needs to be upgraded.
Well, I've been told that we are upgrading and therefore I would be entitled to a newer one.
And
But
what
I
sort of
just want to
work do you
make
do?
sure that so I do everything. So I do artwork. I'll usually have Illustrator and Photoshop open, plus a
Right.
few spreadsheets, plus God knows how many web windows. I do a bit of everything. So I'm dotting all over the place.
I would recommend this.
Okay.
I would recommend this because the device you've got only has a 12.5-inch screen. So
Right.
this screen is an inch bigger. You can get it in two sizes. So you can either have it in a 13.5 or a 15-inch. So if you do want a bigger screen, you've got options with this one. And this one, again, is designed for things like artworking, illustration. It's got the power and performance to run these applications all at the same time. You've got this large display, which you can use the pen to, again, draw directly onto.
Right.
Also, as you see, this screen is detached. What you can do is you can take the screen off, you can flip this around like 180 degrees, put it back on, and then close it, and then the screen will be on the outside. So you can
Okay.
effectively use it as a drawing tablet as well.
Okay.
So I'd recommend that, given the fact that you're using things such as Adobe, artworking, and another word, this is probably going to be the most versatile for that sort of work, I would say.
And I don't need to go up to the whatever that next one was that was more like a laptop, which I'm reluctant to do unless I have to.
Well, this one is kind of like a laptop
But
because
it
obviously,
still has a detachable screen, yeah, which is quite
yeah.
handy.
But the thing is, when the screen's detached, bear in mind that in here you've got your Intel processor. Let's just say you've got your i7, and you've also got your batteries in here. And in here you've got more batteries, and in here you've got your GPU, so your graphics processor.
Okay.
So when you detach it, effectively you are cutting this bit off.
Okay.
So you can use this bit on its own, but it doesn't have a kickstand like yours does. So it would just sit flat on the desk. But yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you.
But I would given what the nature of your work, I would say this would be a good device for that.
Okay, thanks.
I just want to wrap this up. I just want to say thank you all very much for coming along to this session. I hope you found it valuable. I hope it's given you some ideas. And again, if you are looking at getting devices soon, don't forget those Black Friday deals. They only go on until the close of play tomorrow and while stocks last. So if you want to get on those, absolutely jump all over it. But thank you all so much for coming along. And I'm sure we'll be doing these again in the future, hopefully under better circumstances where we can all come together and I can actually show you the devices in person. But until then, take very good care of yourselves. If I don't speak to you before, have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll see you all soon. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.